I'd have two 1 terabyte drives, or if I want to do an SSD and a 1 terabyte drive, which I probably might end up doing, because I want to have an SSD just for fast. It's going to make it a lot faster. This has 8 gigabytes of Corsair XMS3 1333 megahertz memory, but one stick is 1600 megahertz at 1.65 volt, and the other stick is 1333 megahertz at 1.5 volt. They both run at 1.5 volt at 1333 megahertz, no problem. The motherboard, the most that I've seen that this supports is the 1333 megahertz RAM. That's the fastest you can get, and 8 gigabytes is the max you can get. So I wouldn't do any faster than that. Yeah, really, I think everybody should have a little computer like this. This computer only cost me $350 to $400 to build, and that's all with me just going to Tiger Direct and buying all the parts and custom making it. You know, sound ending foam, and forgot the case. I'll have to put the specs in the description. I'll put all of the specs to this ITX server in the description. Just remember, it has AMD E350 1.6 gigahertz dual core CPU with a Gigabyte motherboard. So once you find Gigabyte motherboard and you type E350, you'll find the model for it. But I'll have all the information in the description for the links, so if you want to read that. So yeah, pretty much it's vents out here. You got some vents. There was an option, but I lost the thing for it. This isn't supposed to be here. There's sound ending foam here, but this vents out, and you could add another hard drive on the side if you wanted to, but I feel like I didn't get enough air to vent through, so I just kind of blocked this off and ran it as an exhaust, and it works really good like that. The temps are great. You see my hand, it's ridiculous how small this thing is. It's a seed box. It's like, okay, here's my 12-inch shoe, right? So it's a 12-inch shoe. I'm pulling a Linus here with the arm length, but yeah, here's my 12-inch shoe, and pretty much it's the size of that. I mean, it's really, really small. If I put a power supply on top of this, the old school power supplies, it's like double or triple how wide it is compared to this little small SFF small form factor power supply. So let me charge my battery on the camera, and I will take this baby apart and show you everything on the inside. So hope you enjoy it. I hope you can see everything. I really want to really just try to show you the outside before anything. Let me give you a little size comparison. Here is, here's my keyboard. There's a mouse. So we're just gonna kind of put it there. Okay, guys. If you hear me say "okay, guys" or "okay" a lot, during these videos, I recorded most of all these videos in kind of 1 or 2 goes, just straight through. I'm pretty much doing it all through, and I'll edit the videos later, you know, when I have to. So yeah, the battery just died. The battery sucks on this, so just kind of doing my thing. I took the screws out on this, so I'm getting ready to take it apart. See, there's a screw here, and a screw here, and a screw here, and a screw here. And I'll try to do this with one hand if I can. Nope, can't do it. Okay, so just put this here, maybe you guys can see. Try to do this the best I can so you guys can kind of see it while I take it apart. So I'm just sliding it, and it just pops right off. Okay, so pretty much this is the outside of the case. It's where the 80mm fan was, and like you see, this is where I went a little bit crazy. I did 80mm fan that I did my own custom screws through, so you can see the screws. And this took a really long time, believe it or not, because it's such a small case, but you didn't think it would take that much time. But I did all this sound Mod-Right sound ending foam in here, and it's silent. I mean, if you put an SSD in here, I really don't think you could hear it at all. This is set up as exhaust, so it's sucking all the hot air from inside the case and blowing it outside the case. So this is a good setup if you have a small case like this, an ITX case that you really want to suck all that hot air out like a vacuum. Yeah, you can see, I don't know if you see the imprints right here. See where my fingers are? There's like imprints. that's from the case because it's pushing into the sound deadening foam. So you just got to keep that in mind when you have sound deadening foam and you have it jammed against cases, you'll get these imprints like that. So I'm not sure if it's going to look ugly to you or just in general. There's a little Tetris thing to go, you know, there we go, we connect the shapes and put them in there. If I had big giant sheets of this professional sound deadening foam, I think I could do a highly professional job and just a better color. It would look way better. I just kind of did this on a whim, first time using it, sound deadening foam, and you can really tell I took my time with the this case right over here, the Cooler Master Half 912, and I really think I did a good job on that one right there. I mean, pretty much this door, pretty much everything. It's a great little budget case, $50 if you can get them. I don't know if you heard of Cyber Power PC. They build custom PCs. I mean, heck, they're even using this case for some of their gaming PCs. So, I mean, it really, for a budget case, I mean, it's a heck of a case. And I recommend it if you don't want a huge tower, like my half 932 case over here. If you don't want something too crazy and big like that, just get yourself one of these and do what I did. Put some sound deadening foam in it for cheap. I think sound deadening foam was like, I don't know, $2 or something like that when I got it on sale, and just cut it out with the X-Acto knife. So I took it off. Here's where I cut it out. There was, this whole thing had foam right here, but I kind of cut it out and just played around with the fan intake and exhaust had lower temps. For this application, it's different with every case, so you just have to try it. Some case like intake and some type like exhaust. That's why people talk about positive air pressure and negative air pressure. Positive air, I'm going to say this the best I can because I might get them mixed up, but positive air pressure is when you're trying to shove as much air as you can into the case, you know, because it's shoving it in. And negative is there's really no air, it's just sucking it all out. And the problem with the negative air is when you have all your fans sucking out more fans than blowing in, you'll get dust. So let's say I had this 230 millimeter fan. Let's say all my fans were sucking air into the case. So I had this sucking air and I had the top ones sucking air. What would happen is I would get a whole film of dust right across the front of this because this is where the air is open and it's just sucking the air right through the front of this. So, you know, for this application, it's just better to do negative air pressure in a small case where it's set up as exhaust. But if you don't want a lot of dust inside your case, do positive pressure where you have the fan as an intake blowing cold air from outside the case into the case. And sometimes they'll lower temps, sometimes it won't. You just have to try it. My suggestion, if you had a case like this with this setup that I got, maybe put a dust filter in. If you want to run it as intake, you put like you can buy them for these kind of fans, a little dust filter to cool them down, so air doesn't go through, or so air goes through, but you don't get dust in there. So yeah, pretty much it just slides on this case. So I mean, if you'd have to put it around and then you'd push it on and slide it around. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, so I just kind of do this. I got the fan connector, so you can see right here I got two screws, and here's I'll start off with the back of it. As you can see, that's the Antec painted black PCI slot covers. And the cool thing about this case, if you only have one slot cover, so you can't put two, like, you know, 2 slot video cards or nothing like that. But you take the screw out right here and you pop this over, and then you can take out that right there, that slot cover if you want, so it's not too bad. This is ridiculous how small this, they don't call it a CPU, they call it an APU. What APU is the graphics processing unit, the GPU, is built into the CPU, the same chip. So everything is built into this. I'm pretty sure the chipset for the Serial ATA and the PCI Express, it's all built into the CPU also. So it's not CPU, it's built into the APU. So everything's built into the APU. So let's start off with the top. Like I said, I got a Western Digital black, Caviar black, 1 terabyte hard drive. I'll try to go out because it's so hard to get these model numbers. these are the drives that I bought 5 of these. I ended up giving one to my friend from Mexico, and I mean, I gave him my old HD 4870X2 cards because I felt kind of bad. He had a kind of bad computer, but you know, you do what you got to do. You got to help friends out sometimes. Now he has pretty much the same computer I have, spec-wise, just with a 570 GTX graphics card, Zotac brand, so pretty insane PC. No videos, but you know, I got pictures. Maybe I can ask him if I can post some pictures on YouTube or something and show you guys. Pretty cool. Corsair H100 he's running in his system at 2600K at 4.5 gigahertz with 1866 megahertz red Corsair Vengeance RAM. So pretty much the same as mine, just hard drive, this hard drive, and that. Okay, here is the model number, because I bought 5 of these. They're highly reliable. I've never had one break. It's WD1001FALS. So WD1001FALS, and it's the Western Digital Caviar Black. Serial AT2, these are the first models of the blacks. I think the Samsung SpinPoint F3, which came out after these hard drives, is a little bit faster. But I mean, at the time, these were awesome. They had, I think, Western Digital Raptors or Velociraptors, and these were close to the performance. And then once you put them in RAID 0, they're smoking the Velociraptors. So this is really before SSDs became really popular and people were buying SSDs. So I bought just a lot of these for reliable hard drives for servers, and I've been using them in all my computers. They're really awesome. So what I would do, if you got a gaming PC, because SSDs are really expensive right now, and you get very little storage space, what I would do is I buy yourself a really fast 1 terabyte hard drive or 2 terabyte hard drive. Usually the 1 terabyte hard drives are a little bit faster performance than some of them. Buy one of these Western Digital Blacks, put all your games and your media on here to install your games, like Battlefield 3, Metro 2033, Skyrim, all your different games, and then take your SSD and only install Windows 7 and certain programs on there, on your SSD. That's what I did with my Western Digital Black. That's what I did with my 50 gigabyte OCC Vertex 2 SSDs and RAID 0. I don't know if you can see, but my Windows C drive right there only has 54 gigabyte free space out of 93.1 gigabytes. So when you take two 50 gigabyte SSDs and put them in RAID 0, you only get 93.1 gigabyte space. So just keep that in mind. Video games are taking up a lot of space. Battlefield 3 with all the DLC packs with Armor Kill and all that is about 22.6 gigabyte folder size, and Max Payne 3 is about 28 gigabyte folder size. I think Skyrim's, not sure off the top of my head, but I think it's about 12 gigabytes with all the DLCs and the high-res texture packs. So you just have to install your games on one of these, have one of these, and then have maybe like a nice 120 gigabyte SSD. Corsair has these new Neutron GT SSD drives, and the Corsair Neutron GT SSD. This says GT or GTX SSD. Neutron GTX. They also make the Corsair Force GT, and one high performance 120 gigabyte Force GT is the same speed as my two 50 gigabyte OCZ Vertex 2s in RAID 0, so about 550 megabits per second write, and 550 megabits per second read, and 500 megabits per second write. Okay, sorry for all that. So I'm just going to take this serial ATA power cable out right here. It's real tight build, and take that cable out right there, and I'm going to pull this hard drive out so you can see more of the build. And it's really tight in this build when you're building. See, I got sound ending foam right here, and I don't know if you see these, they're try to get the best shot. These are the Corsair XMS3 1333. One stick is 1600 megahertz and one is 33. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but I already had one stick, so I decided to buy the other because they didn't have the same speed. and just underclock it. You know, not overclock it, but underclock it, where you run it at a lower speed.